Bitcoin, my bad boyfriend. Are you still a big believer in crypto?
I'm so excited for this. A first TV interview with the crypto investor who bought the $69 million NFT at Christie's. And for that, we want to get right over to Robert Frank. Robert.
Bitcoin, what's the price right now? I believe it's pretty close to $60,000 per coin. 59.4 is your actual quote.
No, I think can Bitcoin and gold coexist? Absolutely.
The man known as Metacobin, his real name is Vinyesh Sundaresan, said in his first TV interview that he was prepared to pay even more for that $69 million Beeple NFT that sold at Christie's earlier this month. And he said NFTs are creating a revolution to democratize the art and the entire collecting world.
I've always loved to be an innovator, and I did my first NFT in March of 2020. And it won the NFT Charity Award, the best one of the year. So that was exciting. And now to see it just blow up in the past couple months has been so exciting. And I've been working together with some incredible artists and doing my first drop in a few weeks. And then another one planned after that. And I just think it's amazing that artists can really, take back their power and I don't know, the technology of it is just so interesting. And I'm just fascinated by all of it.
Andrew, good morning. Well, the world knows him as Metacobin. He is the mysterious crypto investor who paid that $69 million for an NFT. His real name is Vinyesh Sundaresan. He is the Singapore-based CEO of Portkey Technologies. He's the co-founder of BitAccess, that's a Bitcoin ATM provider, and he is the founder of the Metapurse NFT project. Vinyesh, thank you for joining us this morning.
When we talk about cryptocurrencies at PayPal, what's in it for the company? I mean, is it the fact that maybe the company can extract fees from the conversion of cryptocurrencies, or is it something else?
We didn't make sure that we have a higher limit. Definitely, I was very motivated and ready to go even beyond what we paid for it at this auction at that point. And I just believe that it is that important of a piece in history, art history. This is a significant piece in art history, and sometimes these things take some time for everyone to recognize and realize, but I'm okay with that. I had the opportunity to be part of this very important change or shift in how art has been perceived for centuries.
And they're actually, now we're watching the trading patterns of Bitcoin. It's acting very differently than gold. Gold is your traditional defensive asset. Bitcoin is acting more like a risk-on inflation type hedge, more tied to what's going on in the economic cycle. So they may be defensive assets, but they're trading very differently, which means there's room for both to coexist. Now, in terms of thinking about, you put that pool together at defensive assets, we've got roughly about 2.5 trillion in gold, 2 trillion in Bitcoin and digital currencies. That's roughly $4.5 trillion. If you go back to the maximum amount of defensive assets as a share of AUM, total AUM, it was in 1979, 1980. In today's dollars, that'd be about 5 trillion. So if we look at the digital currencies and gold, you lump them all together, about 4.5, max historically is 5. So we got to ask as a group of a whole, are we going to take this higher? Is this situation more serious than 1979, 1980? That's a question we'll have to answer.
You were named one of Forbes' richest people in crypto. I want to start there. I know you're also the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. I got it all. Now, I want to know, what price did you get into cryptos at?
Yeah, Headley, you're right. It is a bad boyfriend. And I'll tell you what's really emerging as a bit of an issue, problem, challenge. Institutions have not yet really engaged in Bitcoin as a property. You can believe it as an asset, property, currency, whatever it is. It's still really nowhere in the institutional portfolio. And the problem we're having with it, and since I last talked, it's only gotten worse. We have compliance on large institutions. We have covenants around how assets are made. whether carbon is burned, whether there's human rights involved, whether it's made in China, all these issues that have now come to the fore on Bitcoin. Institutions will not buy coin mined in China, coin mined using coal to burn for electricity, coin mined in countries with sanctions on them. And all of a sudden, there's this huge demand for virgin coin with the provenance known. This is a really interesting problem. And I see over the next year or two kinds of coin. Blood coin from China, clean coin mined sustainably in countries that use hydroelectricity, not coal.
You said you have your first job coming in a few weeks. Can you tell us what it is? Is it a drawing, a photo? How are you thinking about it?
My first job is about art. I can't really say much yet because it's a surprise, but the first one will be about art and the second one will be about music and memorabilia. So it's amazing that I think really the possibilities are endless with this. So
the question that everyone was asking when they saw these headlines is why would anyone pay $69 million for a JPEG and a hyperlink?
I think the most important thing here for PayPal, it does two things. The first thing, it boosts engagement. So the more often you're actually using the app, you're looking at your Bitcoin, you are paying with your Bitcoin, you're spending more time on the app, and that's what we call the super app effect. So you're going to be using the PayPal app more and more often, and then you're probably going to be getting other stuff. So that's kind of the first step. The second step is if a lot of people are going to use this, then eventually, because PayPal charges the same for the merchant, but it doesn't have to pay Visa, MasterCard, or the banks, it might be able to increase their own margin. So it has like that sort of ripple effect of more usage super app, but also, margin expansion if people use it and they don't have to pay the interchange, et cetera.
News also today that the underbidder for that $69 million Beeple is Justin Sun. He is launching a fund for NFTs priced at over $1 million. And just moments ago, guys, a group of major blockchain players, including Ethereum co-founder Joe Lubin, launching a new NFT network they say is 99% more energy efficient than Ethereum. Energy, of course, being a huge criticism right now of NFTs and blockchain. The platform they're launching is called Palm, and it's going to start with artist Damien Hirst selling a series of 10,000 oil paintings that he painted 5 years ago. And he's going to launch all of these on this new platform. So this speaks to both the growth as well as this kind of backlash that we started to see against the environmental impact of NFTs and blockchain. Guys?
I've been working with digital currencies since the late 90s, specifically in the context of virtual worlds like World of Warcraft and Second Life. Think of these as virtual countries. I was the primary market maker for those currencies for, call it those 3,000 countries, with a team of about 400,000 people that would play these games professionally to mine those digital currencies. And we were testing economic theories. And so I wanted to see if these same ideas could be rolled out in the real world, which has led me to Bitcoin. So let's just say I was in early.
I'm going on the side of clean coin. I'm buying assets inside of miners that can do that. I'm working very hard to make sure every coin I own is compliant, because after I declared my interest in getting a 3% weighting, I got inundated from institutions saying, wait a second, are you buying blood coin from China? Who knew that was a problem?
Go on. You're teasing. You're teasing us. Tell us a little bit more. It's about art, or it's something you've drawn or created?
It's something I created with another artist, and it has to deal with female empowerment.
You said you're an investor and that you liked NFTs. Does that mean you're an investor in Bitcoin?
Yes.
Sure. I think this is a significant piece in art history. And sometimes these things take some time for everyone to recognize and realize, but I'm okay with that. I had the opportunity to be part of this very important change or shift in how art has been perceived for centuries. This is a change in medium.
Yeah, so you look at PayPal on this latest news today. You look at the news yesterday from Visa. I realize that that's not Bitcoin. It's actually a US dollar pegged coin there. But in general, looking around the payments ecosystem right now. Is it safe to say that we're at an inflection point in terms of greater adoption of cryptocurrencies as an actual store of value, use of value?
100%. So it's become sort of, I would say, brings Bitcoin one step closer to becoming mainstream, because now it's not just stored value, it's actually value that you could use in a store, right? So it becomes that change from stored value to value you can use in a store. That's like the big thing. And you're seeing that in the price of Bitcoin. And you have a lot of people that are kind of betting on Bitcoin. You know, we hosted Kathy Wood a few weeks ago, and she's talking about Bitcoin being like going up and becoming like mainstream. So I think that prophecy being kind of fulfilled over time, and we're seeing that coming to fruition right now.
Yeah, so you were buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of them when they were just pennies on the dollar. I mean, was it that low when you started investing?
Yeah, well, so in the case of Bitcoin, once I started participating, you couldn't even buy Bitcoin yet. Really, the only way to receive Bitcoin in the early days was through mining, because the infrastructure to buy and sell and things of that nature didn't exist. You know, you fast forward to 2013. This is before Ethereum. You've now got a couple of alternative currencies like Litecoin. I was there, from the beginning for the creation of Ethereum. I started Blockchain Capital, the first venture fund to fund all of these early companies. Started Tether, where we digitized the US dollar. Mastercoin, where we invented the ICO to change capital formation. Started the first crypto bank. The list goes on and on. I don't want to bore you.
No, you're not boring me at all. I just want to know if you're a billionaire. Will you tell me?
So is it a national security issue in your view?
No, I just think that people are just getting into this asset class, watching it increase in value so much over the last year. Everybody just, said it's not real. And all of a sudden, regulators in Canada and Germany and Switzerland and Japan and Australia and New Zealand started to open up as an asset class. And now the US is looking at it more seriously. I think the cat's out of the bag. I think it's a real asset class. And now you've got to differentiate what you own. I mean, it's rather remarkable because we're in a bit of a trade war still, even under the Biden administration with China. China mines most of the coin, and institutions don't want to own it. Not just for the carbon issue, but also human rights issues. Do they want to support a regime that, has issues with human rights around Muslims and all that? Say, we don't want to endorse this. You've got this asset class held in limbo in a remarkable struggle, a remarkable situation. Every day I deal with it. I say to myself, look, I bought some coin and everybody asked me where did it come from. So now I'm not buying coin unless I know where it was mined, when it was mined, the provenance of it, not in China. No blood coin for me.
I'm very, very excited about that as well. It's definitely the future. And
have you been in Bitcoin for a while?
Yes.
Well, I guess it's been a good trade. What else are you What else are you excited about in the investment world? Anything else right now?
I'm excited just to invest in behind female entrepreneurs, especially. Daily Harvest is one that I also am an investor behind with Rachel Drury. I think she's just brilliant, as well as Zen Water and Good Catch. And Reset is the one I'm most excited about right now because I think it's just been such a game changer for me and has really changed my life. And I want to help empower others and have them be the best versions of themselves.
Well, I will tell you this. I'm very famously, I think, quoted for saying repeatedly that a billionaire to me is not someone with $1 billion, but someone who is positively impacting the lives of 1 billion people. And so from that perspective, I'm certainly an aspirational billionaire.
Well, have you got $1 billion worth of crypto? I mean, will you answer me, will you?
I mean, again, I'm not someone that typically talks about, well, I'll say this as well. I don't consider any of what I have, any money that I have to be mine. I consider myself just a custodian or a steward of it. And I view money like energy that just wishes to flow. And I'm always doing my best to be a good conduit to support those things that we need to have happen in the world during these very troubling or challenging times.
Here's one of my problems with the cryptos. If you want to use them as an actual currency, a medium of exchange, you want to buy something with Bitcoin, for example, then the transaction cost is very high. I mean, isn't it something like $5-6 per transaction, which if it's a small item, is just not going to make it? So that seems to me to be a problem with using it as an everyday currency. What say you?
Kind of the potential future impact. If I told you, for example, that Square is like the JP Morgan of the future, then you'd be looking at it in a whole different prism, right? And you're like, wait, am I buying something now that's, I think it's valued highly, but like in 10 years, they are the bank of the future. They are the money center bank of the future. That's like a very, very big upside to it. So I think if you believe that these companies are the banks of the future, then I don't think they're overvalued. They're probably undervalued where they are. And that's why we have like $380 price target on Square and $375 on PayPal.
Well, that's absolutely right. Again, this technology is still in development, and all of these different experiences of different cryptocurrencies are attempts at, continual innovation. And so you're definitely right. Bitcoin in its current state is not an effective currency. Volatility, transaction fees, and otherwise. Bitcoin should be thought of really as an alternative store of value, more like digital gold right now. But that doesn't mean that we won't develop the solutions that allow for greater transactional throughput at lower cost structure. That's why things like the Lightning Network and Layer 2 sort of technologies have been developed. And a lot of the other blockchains or other cryptocurrencies have much lower fees and much higher transactions.
Interesting. Brock, thanks very much for joining us. I could talk to you all day, and we really appreciate you being here. Come back soon, please. Brock Pierce. Okay.
Thank you.
Robert, great get, and way to spin the story forward. Appreciate that very much, Robert Frank.